Okay, welcome. Today, let's start on our hands and knees. So, take a tabletop shape and just take a few moments to let your hands feel your mat and your knees. Your toes can be tucked under or not. And let's take a full inhale in through your nose. And as you exhale, round your back, bring your tailbone down, your chin towards your chest. And then inhale, slowly flow through to a back bend. And exhale into the forward curl. A few more on your own. After you breathe out, come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands a palm length ahead of your shoulders. Curl your toes under, lift your knees up, downward facing dog. Okay, so this can be a few petals of your heels to help open up the backs of your legs. And a gentle rocking motion to your head too. Work your way towards stillness and down dog. And let's take a clearing breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. As you breathe in, float your right leg up, three-legged dog. And then step your right foot forward up to your right hand and lower your left knee. As you inhale, lift your upper body, bring your arms up too. And then take an exhale to settle down into your hips. Using your right hand, grab a hold of your left wrist, breathe in to lift through the top of your head. Take your hips slightly to the left and then lean over to the right. And keep breathing. Your gaze can be forward or turned up and underneath your left arm. Let's take a couple more slow breaths. Next time you inhale, come back upright, separate your hands. And when you exhale, lean forward, take your hands to the ground. Three-legged dog, lift your right leg up and back. And as you float your right leg up, lift your right hip higher than your left and then place a bend into your right knee. And while you do, press your left heel down towards the mat. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. And give your head a little wag side to side so you know your neck is released. And then breathe in with your leg lifted this way. As you exhale, bring your thigh into your chest, round your spine, press down firmly through your finger pads, and then release your right knee underneath your right hip. Take your right toes a little wider to the right, spin to the inside of your left foot, and then take your right hand just ahead of your right shoulder. Turn towards the left and raise your left arm up. Try to roll your shoulders away from your ears and be nice and firm through the finger pads of your right hand. And then press down very firmly through the sole of your left foot too. And your right knee can stay just as it is on the mat, or float your knee up and extend your right foot off to the side, floating or grounded. Let's take a couple more breaths. And then draw your right thigh back in, look down, downward facing dog, lift your hips up and back. Okay, moving over to your left leg, inhale, lift your left leg up, three-legged dog. As you exhale, step your left foot forward, up to your left hand, a low lunge, lower your right knee, lift your upper body, bring your arms up, and an exhale to settle your hips down. This time, take your left hand, grab your right wrist, breathe in to lengthen, bring your hips slightly to the right, and as you breathe out, lean, and then do keep your breath moving. Your gaze can be forward or up and underneath your right arm. The next time you breathe in, come back to center, separate your hands, and then exhale, lean in, bring your hands down, three-legged dog. Lift your left leg up and back, float your left hip above your right, and then bend your left knee. Try to press down through your right heel towards your mat so you get a nice stretch in the back of your leg, and also soften your neck. Let your head move. And the next time you breathe in, keep your left knee lifted. As you exhale, draw your left thigh forth into your chest and hug your thigh bone up so your spine is rounded. Press down firmly through your finger pads. And then slowly release your left knee down underneath your left hip and spin your right heel flat. Move your left hand ahead of your left shoulder. Move your left toe slightly behind you, just a little more balance so you can turn open towards the right and reach up through your top arm. Again, move your shoulder blades down your back. Press down firmly through your left finger pads, down through the sole of your right foot, and you can stay just as you are, or hover your left knee, extend your left leg out. Your foot could stay floating, or place it down to the ground. And even through the work of your core, make sure that there's still breath. If you've extended your left leg, bend your knee, look down, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. Now the next time you breathe in, roll forward into plank pose. Place your knees to the mat and then your forearms down to the mat. Your elbows shoulder width distance apart. And then tuck your toes, lift your knees back up. Again, move your shoulders away from your ears, so there's your upper back in the pose, and then draw your pubic bone forward and lift your belly button up to your spine. Shift your weight into your left foot, hover your right heel, turn your right toes open towards the right. Here's an inhale. As you exhale, bend your right knee, float your knee wide, bring it forward up towards your right elbow. And then inhale, stretch your leg back. Let's do 3 more, and exhale to come forward. Inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, send your leg back, bring your toes to the mat, and then lower softly. Maybe your knees come down first. As you do, take your fingertips open wide, finger stand cobra with straight legs, lift up through the center of your chest. As you exhale, draw your left shoulder down, take a turn towards the right. And then inhale, rise back up. Other way, exhale, right shoulder down. As you inhale and come back up, maybe not quite so high, lift your belly button towards your spine, hover your fingertips up and hug your shoulder blades down your back. Okay, press down through your pubic bone, give your lower back a little more room, draw your chest forward, 1 more inhale, and then bring your palms down, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. As you inhale, float your left leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step your left foot forward, a high lunge this time. So keep your right knee floating, lift your upper body, and bring your arms up as well. Take a moment to stabilize. Bring your left knee over your left heel, then hug your left hip back and draw your right hip forward. So you can stay with your chest forward, your gaze forward, or if you feel inclined to lean a bit, lift up through the center of your chest, create space, and then lean back through the back edges of your ears and your thumbs. Take a couple slow breaths. And by 2, I mean 3. 1 more. Great. This exhale, lean forward. Bring your fingertips ahead of your left foot. Step forward onto your left foot. Raise your right leg. Now take your right hand just a little wider to the right so you can put some weight into your right hand. Lift your left hand up, make a fist. And then move your left forearm, so your lower arm, to the inside of your left leg. So your left knuckles are pressing towards the back of your mat. And once you're holding that constant, draw forward through the center of your chest. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other, lift up through your pelvic floor, lift up through your lower belly, and then if you feel comfortable, lift your right thumb up towards heart center. Okay, just a couple of breaths this way. Let your left arm give you some support. Great. And then let's release. Bring both hands down, bend your left knee, downward facing dog, lift your hips up and back. Okay, a clearing breath, inhale, exhale. Okay, press down through your finger pads, come forward into plank pose. Bring your knees down, bring your forearms down. Elbows shoulder width distance apart. Press your palms down, and then lift your knees back up. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Draw your pubic bone forward, your belly button up towards your spine. Shift your weight into your right leg, hover your left leg up, turn your left toes out to the left, and then inhale, bring your left knee forward up towards your left arm, and exhale, back it goes. Do 3 more and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. And exhale. Okay, bring your toes down, maybe your knees next. Then the front of your pelvis, untuck your toes, fingertips wide. Inhale, finger stand cobra. Exhale, bring your right shoulder down, look over to the left. Inhale, back up to center, working with straight legs. And exhale, left shoulder down, look to the right. Inhale, come up to center, not too high. Remember, we're gonna try to take our hands away, so back way as you need to. Press down through your pubic bone and then hug the inner tips of your shoulder blades towards each other and float your hands up. And then as if you could push against the ground, try to draw your chest forward, the crown of your head forward. One more inhale. And then bring your palms down, curl your toes, downward facing dog. As you meet down dog, float your right leg up, inhale, and step your right foot forward towards your right hand. So this will be a high lunge. Once your feet are set up, lift your upper body and turn your palms to face each other. Hug your right hip back, your left thigh bone forward, and then lift up through the center of your chest. You can stay this way, facing forward, or if you wish, lift up to lean back, creating room before we move deeper into the back bend. Your breath gives you a good idea of how you're doing in the inside, how your nervous system's doing, so try to keep your breath flowing. Okay, one more inhale. As you exhale, lean forward, reach your fingertips ahead of your right foot, step forward, raise your left leg up to hip height. Now walk your left hand a little wider to the left, keep your left toes turned down, lift your right hand, make a fist, and then reach your right knuckles towards the back of your mat, bringing your upper arm bone into your right inner thigh. Hug your inner thighs towards each other, lift through your pelvic floor, draw forward through the center of your chest. You can stay with your left hand on the ground, or if you feel in balance, to lift your left thumb up, up towards the center of your chest, halfway to heart center. You're welcome to. It's usually my good side too, but this one's giving me a little trouble. Okay, so keep breathing, just do your best. Know your left hand can come down whenever it needs to. Okay, we don't do retakes, you see. And then bend your right knee, bring your hands down. Downward facing dog, step your left foot also back. Okay, take a deep inhale. Full exhale. Okay, now put a little bend into your knees, look forward, step or hop your feet forward up to the front of your mat. Breathe in to take a halfway lift. And then as you exhale and bow, put enough bend in your knees that you can comfortably grab the balls or your big toe. So press down through the balls of your feet. Make sure there's weight back into your heels. As you inhale, take the halfway lift shape again so your arms get nice and straight. And then as you exhale, bow in towards your thighs. Now you're welcome to bend your knees so much that you're really resting on your thighs. This can be a great idea if you have any issues in your lower back or if your hamstrings feel pretty tight. And then working from there, if it feels like there's a little more room to go deeper, lift up through your hips, up through your sitting bones as you draw your upper body in towards your legs. Okay. Bring your fingertips down underneath your shoulders, come up to a halfway lift. Step your feet a little wider, your toes a little wider than your heels, bend your knees to sit down. Take your elbows into your inner thighs, your palms in towards each other, malasana, a squat. Lift up through the center of your chest. Let your hamstrings soften. The back of your pelvis settles downward. And draw up, length through your spine, up through the top of your head. A couple more breaths. Come to sit down, a hand in front, a hand behind. And let's move through to your back. So roll your way down. As you meet your mat, walk your heels in towards your sitting bones. Lay your arms down by your sides. I'm gonna guide in 2 back bends. First bridge, second wheel. You can take your pick as we move. So with your heels near your sitting bones, your arms by your sides, press down to lift your hips up. And as you lift your hips, try to keep your thighs parallel to each other. And then press down through the backs of your shoulders, lift up through your chest. And maybe there's room to roll your shoulder blades a little closer and actually move your arms closer. And if they're close enough that you can clasp your hands, you're welcome to do that too. If you notice the balls of your feet have gotten light on the ground, try to press them down, lift up through your pubic bone, down through the backs of your arms, and a little down through the back of your head too. And a couple more breaths. If your hands are together, separate them, create space to roll from the top to the bottom. And as your hips come down, lift your feet up and just give your lower back a little bit of space, a bit of gentle flexion. So I'm going to guide into one more reclined back bend. Take your pick. It can be reclined bound angle too. Bring your feet down to the ground. This time I'm going to guide to wheel pose. Take your feet just an inch wider than they were before. And then lift your hands up over your shoulders with your fingertips down. Lift your elbows up. Press down through your feet. Lift your hips up. Roll up through your spine. But then push through your hands. Lift off the backs of your shoulders and bring the top of your head to the mat instead. And then hug your elbows in towards each other. Roll your shoulder blades down your back. And if you feel comfortable to lift your hips and chest up higher and lift off the top of your head, then you're welcome to also. Make sure that you're still breathing in whatever pose you choose. If you're in wheel, come out by looking up to the ceiling and then bend your elbows, set the back of your head, back of your shoulders down. There you're in bridge now. If you're in bridge, let's roll down also. Bring your spine and hips down. This time, bring your knees in towards your chest. Just a little gentle rock side to side. Bring your feet down, open your arms wide, lift your hips, take them slightly to the right. Lift your feet again. Maybe a block comes between your knees. We're going to twist. Draw your knees down towards the left. As your knees land, your left hand can come help them stay there by resting your hand to the top of your right knee. Try to very gently move the center of your chest towards the back of your mat. So you've got lots of room in your spine. And your gaze can be up or turned over your right shoulder. Let's take a clearing breath, inhale. Exhale. Open your left arm wide, push down to lift your knees up and lower your feet. Okay, lift your hips. Bring your hips up over towards the left. Rest your hips down, lift your feet again, and then move your knees down towards the right. So as your knees land, this time your right hand can come to your left outer knee. That helps your legs stay in place. And if you feel kind of hunched in, then draw the center of your chest towards the back of your mat and create a little length again. Your gaze can be up to the ceiling or over your left shoulder. One more clearing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Open your right arm wide, push down, lift your knees up. Take your feet down, place your hips to the middle of your mat. And here we move into Shavasana, so take up some space. Let your heels go wide, your arms go wide too. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you so your neck can be long. And then let your body settle. Feel the support of the earth underneath you.
Waking up my soul. Waking up. Waking up my soul. Waking up my soul. Waking up, morning is mine. Morning is mine. Morning is mine. Morning is mine. Waking up.
Bring a bit of movement into your hands, your feet again. And then raise your right arm by your right ear and roll over onto your right side. Press your left palm down. Slowly lift your upper body and come to any comfortable seat. Finding your seat, bring your palms together to heart center. Thank you for your practice of mindful movement. Namaste.
Morning is mine. Waking up, my soul.